Part 67. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 662. In fact, this is not difficult to understand. Because the scope of activities of the elite team will not increase much as the number of people increases, the number of zombies added within their scope of activities will not increase much either. These zombies are distributed to everyone, and the number of zombies that a single person can hunt becomes smaller. It is a common phenomenon that the average efficiency is low when there are many people. Therefore, increasing manpower does not make much sense. Besides, recruiting 30 people from experts is already a lot. And since there are so many zombies now, the team can exceed the target every day. When the zombies in the southern part of the city slowly decrease, it will become more and more difficult to complete the target, Lei said. Len Ning suddenly felt a little frustrated. Then we have to change places. If we kill all the zombies around here, will it affect them? Len Ning suddenly seemed to remember something. Lei couldn't help laughing. Len Ning immediately looked at him with unpleasant eyes. There are still a lot of zombies in the south area of the city. They have no shortage of zombies to kill for the time being, Lei said quickly. Len Ning glanced at Lei unhappily. We will kill 10,000 people today. If we don't finish, we won't go home, he then said. Lei was stunned. He knew that his wife was angry with him. Such a little temper. Then I'll work harder and kill more, Lei said. Seeing that Len Ning didn't answer, he continued, maybe I'll kill him, and you just let Xiaoman pick up the crystal core. Len Ning was finally amused and stopped arguing with Lei Ting. 10,000 zombies are not that easy to kill. Stop gossiping and get down to business, Len Ning said. Yes, Lei responded with a smile. Next, Lei killed zombies more neatly along the way, and led Len Ning to continue walking through the streets to clean up zombies. At noon, the two of them simply ate some dry food and continued their journey. 10,000 zombies is a huge number, and it is not easy to collect them all. After walking more than 3 kilometers from the starting point, Len Ning discovered that the number of crystal nuclei they had obtained was less than 5,000, and it was obvious that there were not as many zombies on the road as before. Only then did Len Ning truly understand the meaning of what Lei Ting had said before. It is not an easy task for so many people in the elite team to work together and complete such a large amount of tasks every day. It's not that killing zombies is difficult, but the density of zombies is often not as high as imagined. It's getting late, how about we go to the city center to solve the rest, Len Ning suggested. If you say you want to kill 10,000 people, you have to kill 10,000 people. If you don't have enough time, just change places. Anyway, I went out once and got enough. Okay, Lei responded with a smile. I walk slowly with my wife like this for more than half a day, killing zombies without using any mental energy at all. When he went out, he also wanted to use up the spiritual power that was always in a full state in his body. So the two of them entered the city center. In order to achieve the big goal of 10,000 crystal cores as soon as possible, Lei also deliberately chose a particularly prosperous commercial center before the end of the world. The next operation is simple. Len Ning shot the zombies and used the sound of the gunshot to attract the zombies. Then Lei released his mental power to massacre the zombies, while Xiaoman followed to pick up the crystal cores. With the cooperation of the three parties, zombies continued to gather towards the two people in the square, and even formed a large-scale zombie tide. Not only were the two not afraid at all, they were even a little excited. Lei quickly used his mental power to create a lightning whip, and when it was struck out, the zombies were charred. Xiaoman was excitedly protecting Len Ning while picking up the crystal core. For those zombies who wanted to get close to Len Ning, he also stabbed the tip of the vine between their eyebrows and directly dug out the crystal core. In this way, the two of them accumulated crystal cores much faster. In less than an hour, they made up the remaining 5,000 crystal cores, and even exceeded the quantity. Seeing that there were not many zombies left, Len Ning asked Lei Lei to stop the high-intensity mental power output, and summoned Xiaoman to take action to eliminate the last batch of zombies. "How many are there?" After the battle, Lei Lei took out the towel from the space ring and asked Len Ning while wiping the sweat on his forehead. "It should be more than 10,000. The weight of the zombie crystal cores is about the same, and the number is probably too much when converted from weight." Lei Lei raised the corners of his lips slightly. "This feeling of harvest is pretty good. It's still early, do you want to continue somewhere else?" Len Ning asked with a smile. "It's up to you." Lei Lei looked doting on his face. "Haha, let's go then," Len Ning immediately said with a smile. Then he took out his car from the space ring. After the two got in the car, Len Ning drove to a lively area before the apocalypse, and then followed the same pattern. But this time, Len Ning did not let Lei Lei take action, but took him up to the platform high up on Xiao Man, which turned into a giant vine. Then Len Ning let Lei Lei rest, and activated his mental power to make Xiaoman grow no less than 50 vines in an instant. These vines began to continuously attack the approaching zombies. It's all about the face. If you put it in and take it out, you'll get the crystal core. At this time, Xiaoman really looked like an alien in a pre-apocalyptic science fiction movie. Oh, no, he was even more powerful than the alien. Because it has more vine tentacles than the alien. Although the lethality is not as strong as your thunder power, the overall speed is faster than you, right? Len Ning said, glancing at the vat in front of him that was constantly adding crystal nuclei. "Yes. Without you, I definitely wouldn't be able to complete the task today," Lei Lei complimented with a smile. "Whether it is the thunder type or other combat types, just kill, and the core processing is the last thing." To this end, the Thunder base has also set up a crematorium. After the battlefield is cleaned, the corpses will be sent to the crematorium for processing. People with fire powers incinerate zombie corpses to avoid contamination. Then use a machine to sift the ashes to get the crystal nuclei. The reason why the elite team is able to complete its mission so efficiently is because of the crematorium. After they kill the zombies, they will directly put the zombie corpses into the space ring. After they return, they will send the corpses to the corpse crematorium, where the crystal core will be produced soon. There was only his wife, who was killing and taking the crystal core at the same time, which was very efficient. It made him a little envious. "After we finish clearing the zombies around here, we will go back to pick up Xiao Hui," Len Ning said with a smile. "This trip out, the harvest is really good." Good. Next, as Len Ning expected, it only took her more than an hour to deal with the zombies swarming nearby. Looking at the mountains of corpses piled up in the square, Len Ning frowned slightly. "Have you recovered your mental strength now?" Chong Lei then asked. "With such a large number of corpses rotting together, this area will probably stink for a long time." "Leave it to me." Lei Lei saw Len Ning's worry and immediately stepped forward to release his lightning power. A light blade stretched out, and the zombie corpses on the ground were instantly charred, and the burning smell quickly dispersed into the air. Len Ning covered her mouth and nose and went to pick up the car not far away. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 663. When Lei Lei got in the car, he started the car and started to return. "Your powers are better." "Environmental protection," Len Ning said. "Haha, as long as I'm here from now on, your powers will also be environmentally friendly." The corners of Len Ning's lips raised, and he was in a very good mood. The young couple went to pick up Xiao Hui, and then returned to the Thunder base. Commander Lin and Hui Jun did not return to Lei's house for dinner in the evening. Before the two came back later, Li Feng came to Lei's eye to look for Len Ning. "Study. This is the order Commander Lin placed with our Leng family yesterday and today." Li Feng sent a booklet to Len Ning's desk. Len Ning picked it up and looked through it. "We need the most food, as well as a lot of wine, condiments, and fruits. Len Ning looked at it and said, as I thought, most of them are first-class crops. Is it enough to transfer the grain stocks from the vegetable base together? Commander Lin wants too much of this batch of goods, and it will definitely be too late to produce now. I'm afraid it's not enough. Li Feng looked worried. The main reason is that the volume of this batch of goods is too large. The production department has arranged for 4th level wood-type superpowers and workers to work overtime overnight, and has also opened up some additional experimental fields to increase production. But even so, this batch of goods will not be released before tomorrow afternoon. So, I came here specifically to ask for your instructions to see if we can discuss with Commander Lin to deliver half of the goods first. Or ask Commander Lin to select some high-value goods and reduce the number of first-level crop orders. The main thing is time. It's because we're in such a hurry. If we give them another 5 days, they will definitely be able to deliver all the goods. There is nothing we can do. Although the output of first-level crops is large, the consumption is also very large. In addition to their own needs at the Thunder base, City B also has a lot of needs. We need so much at once, and we really can't get it together in a short while. Len Ning frowned slightly. Commander Lin's departure for AFEI base tomorrow had been decided before. If they could only deliver half of the helicopters, they wouldn't be able to get all the helicopters back. But there was no other way now. She could only discuss it with Commander Lin to see if they could pick up the goods first. Even if they can't carry it all, at least they have to carry 25 helicopters back first. If you don't want to change the order, let's deliver half of it first. I'll tell Commander Lin when he comes back, Len Ning said. Yes, Li Feng's expression became more relaxed. By the way, there is another situation. Li Feng looked at Len Ning again. Explain. Because the volume of goods is too large, the space jade items brought by Commander Lin may not be enough. Although our Leng family can come up with some, this is not a long-term solution after all. In fact, their hall master had only handed over several thousand space jade artifacts to the group headquarters before. It was precisely because of their existence that the recent tense transportation situation had been somewhat alleviated. But now that a large order has arrived from AFEI base, space jade has begun to become insufficient again. According to Leng's current development momentum, there will definitely be more and more subsequent orders. Inventory reserves must be arranged one after another, which will occupy more space. If the number of Leng's space jade items cannot be increased, it will be difficult to proceed with the follow-up work. Let's find a way to deal with it for the time being. I will solve this matter as soon as possible, Len Ning said directly. It seems that the trip to Heo base really cannot be delayed. Yes, Li Feng felt relieved after hearing what Len Ning said. Len Ning was silent for a while. Seeing that Li Feng hadn't left yet, she looked at him again. What else? Li Feng clasped his fists and looked at Len Ning. It's about Mr. Hu. He told his subordinates that he wanted to join the Leng family as an intern. Do you have any objections? Len Ning was slightly startled. It seems like he wants to stay at the Thunder base for a long time. Then a smile appeared on his lips. If he wants to stay, let him stay. This guy can make Thunder and AFEI cooperate even closer. Yes, Li Feng smiled and bowed to Len Ning. What? You seem to like him quite a bit, Len Ning asked Li Feng with a smile. Young master who is smart and studious, and his thinking is very quick. His subordinates really like him, Li Feng admitted generously. Len Ning's eyes moved slightly. To be praised by you, it seems that he does have some potential. It's a pity that Mr. Hu, with his status, is destined not to serve our Leng family and the fifth branch. A look of disappointment appeared on Li Feng's face. Len Ning raised his hand and said, Don't rush to draw conclusions just yet. No one knows what will happen in the future. I heard from the elder brother that this guy actually wants to move AFEI base to the Thunder safe zone. If this is the case, it is not impossible for him to come to the fifth branch and the Leng family later. Li Feng's eyes moved. Cultivation carefully, Remember to take action when the opportunity is right, Len Ning reminded with a smile. Hu Ai-jun was destined to be unable to take over his father's job, so going into business was actually a very good choice. Yes. I understand, Li Feng immediately said to Len Ning, cupping his fists. Is there anything else? Len Ning continued. Well, the major branches jointly wooed Commander Lin and young Master Hu. Li Feng looked at Len Ning. Tonight, the hall masters of all the branch halls gathered together at Lin's, and they jointly invited Commander Lin and young Master Hu. I wonder if the hall masters know about this. It doesn't matter, Len Ning said calmly. Li Feng looked at Len Ning doubtfully. Isn't the hall master going to stop them from wooing the AFEI base? Len Ning smiled calmly. We are all a family, what is there to stop? Besides, the industries of Leng's and the major branches do not overlap yet. It is a good thing that everyone recommends each other's products to drive orders. If they become bigger in the future, it would be good if we can ride on them and open up more sales. China is so big and there are so many markets, and Leng's is destined to not be able to monopolize the market. At that time, instead of giving opportunities to others, it is better to let your own people take the opportunity from the beginning. In the absence of similar competing products, their relationship with other branches is not competition but mutual assistance. And even if they have overlapping products with various halls in the future, there will still be a lot of cooperation opportunities if the order volume is large enough. The more suppliers gathered at the Thunder Base, the brighter the Thunder Base's signboard will be. Yes, Li Feng responded. I admire Len Ning's broad-mindedness and vision very much. If you have nothing to do, go back and rest. Len Ning showed a tired look. She went out with Lei Lei to kill zombies for a day, and in the afternoon she used her huge mental power to engage in high-intensity fighting. She was indeed a little tired. Li Feng glanced at Len Ning. Yes, then he turned and left. After Li Feng left the study door, Len Ning got up from the office chair. Then he left the study and returned to his room. After bidding farewell to Commander Lin tomorrow, she would have to go to Hei base with Lei Ting. She had to make some preparations before going. But the preparations should wait until tomorrow. She was a little sleepy. Len Ning pushed the door open and returned to the room, only to find that Lei Lei was already lying on the bed waiting for her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Ki Now. Chapter 664. The bath water has been put in the bathtub. Do you want my help? Lei Lei took his eyes back from the book and looked at Len Ning at the door. Len Ning blushed. Can't you stop saying such unserious things in a serious manner? I'll do it myself. Len Ning seemed to regain some energy in an instant, and quickly ran towards the bathroom. The corners of Lei Lei's mouth raised slightly and he continued to pick up the book. The next day, Len Ning got up early just to discuss the delivery with Commander Lin before he went out. Commander Lin will set off back to AFEI base in the afternoon. In fact, it is already too late now. But it's better than waiting until the afternoon when the delivery isn't complete. Master Leng. Commander Lin went downstairs and saw Len Ning sitting on the sofa, with a little surprise on his face. He raised his wrist and looked at his watch, and found that the time was indeed 6:30. Commander Lin, good morning. Len Ning stood up and greeted Commander Lin with a smile. Can I have a chat with you? He then asked. Oh. Okay, Commander Lin responded, walked forward, found a seat in the sofa area and sat down. Li Feng came to see me last night and said that Commander Lin had placed all the orders. Len Ning chose to get straight to the point. Well, that's right. He reported to me Leng's production situation. Before you set off this afternoon, we are afraid that we will only be able to deliver half the value of the goods. Len Ning apologized. We are very sorry about this because we had inventory before. Insufficient. Haha, that's okay. Half the value of the goods will be enough for us to use for a long time. You can just make up for the rest later, Commander Lin laughed. With such a large amount of goods, he never thought that he could pick them all up in such a short time. Len Ning's face became more relaxed. We can make up for the remaining goods within a week, and we will deliver them to AFEI base as scheduled. Yeah. Okay, Commander Lin agreed. Then the helicopter we ordered. Len Ning did not continue to ask further questions. I can make the decision to pick up 25 helicopters immediately. But for the rest, I have to let old Hu lose his mouth. Commander Lin thought for a while and said, but don't worry, I will talk to old Hu when I get back and give you the goods in advance. It shouldn't be impossible. In the past, it was because the two parties didn't know each other well enough that it was so troublesome to trade. Now that Mr. Lei and Hall Master Leng have helped them deal with the zombie wave, and they have sent representatives to visit the Thunder base, the understanding between the two parties is now deep enough, and trust has been established. There is no need to worry too much about the details of the transaction. Thank you so much, Len Ning quickly thanked him. You're welcome, Master Leng. We will have to ask you to take more care of our AFEI base in the future, Commander Lin said with a smile. This Thunder base is indeed extraordinary. There are many opportunities for AFEI to cooperate with Thunder. After he goes back, he has to talk to Lao Hu and the people in the military department, inform and show them the situation here. Maybe we can even slowly arrange for them to come to the Thunder base to see what's going on here, so that they can be more motivated to build the base well. Commander Lin is very polite. I hope we can cooperate and achieve win-win results. Len Ning stood up again as he spoke and extended his hand to Commander Lin. Haha, okay, win-win cooperation. Commander Lin immediately stood up and shook hands with Len Ning. Where are you going so early? Len Ning asked, seeing Commander Lin looking towards the door. Ahem, Hall Master Zhang made an appointment with me yesterday and said he would take me to the safe zone for a look. I have been here for 2 days. Although I didn't finish visiting the base, I still took a tour of it. I heard that there is a safe zone over there. It's also very lively, so I just wanted to go and have a look, Commander Lin said, a little embarrassed. Last night, the Hall Masters of the other 5 branches of the Thunder base invited him and Xiajun to dinner. This made him a little embarrassed to face Hall Master Leng. After all, they are still living in the Lei family, and Hall Master Leng and other branch Hall Masters always have some entanglements in their interests. But what he came here to represent is the AFEI base, and favors often have to be compromised for profit. It was my mistake. I forgot to ask Li Feng to take you to visit the safe zone. However, Teacher Jiang's 6th branch is stationed in the safe zone. It would be nice to have him take you to visit. Who knew that Len Ning was not angry at all? I don't mean anything at all, but I am very supportive. Commander Lin was a little surprised. Why isn't Xiajun with you? Len Ning glanced at the stairs to confirm that Hu Aijun had not gone downstairs. That kid drank too much last night, I'm afraid he's still awake, Commander Lin said with a smile. He's not in a hurry to return to AFEI base. He has plenty of time to visit the safe area, so I didn't call him. Len Ning nodded. Then I'll take you out then, he said. No, no need. I know the way, Commander Lin said quickly. Then he walked quickly towards the door. Lord Leng, please stay. As he walked away, he turned back to Len Ning and said. A smile appeared on Len Ning's face. You go slowly. Just as he watched Commander Lin go out, Lei Mu came down the stairs. After asking Len Ning a few questions, Lei's mother took Len Ning to the front yard and asked her to practice Tai Chi with her. Len Ning did not refuse and began to study seriously. Time passed quickly and it was afternoon in a blink of an eye. At the parking lot next to the vegetable base, Len Ning and Lei took Leng's people to bid farewell to Commander Lin and others. When the helicopter flew into the blue sky, everyone present had some thoughts in their hearts. Starting from today, Thunder Base and AFEI Base will officially start cooperation, and we will have closer contact in the future. Len Ning was just about to leave with Lei Lei when he saw Hu Ai-jun still standing there, still looking at the direction of the helicopter's departure. Len will go to AFEI base to deliver the remaining goods in a week. If you want to go back then, you can follow, Len Ning said to Hu Ai-jun, thinking that Hu Ai-jun wanted to go to AFEI base. According to the feedback from military doctors, Hu Ai-jun's body can return to normal levels in less than a week under the conditioning of military doctors. His situation should be much better when flying in a helicopter. Hall Master Len has misunderstood. I don't want to go back for the time being, Hu Ai-jun said quickly. He had just heard from Brother Lee that Hall Master Len had agreed to let him stay as an intern in Leng's family. How could he give up such a good opportunity? Because of his poor health, he almost never left his mother's sight. He was just a little confused just now. But it's just that's it, he knows what he wants. Now that the opportunity is right in front of him, he will seize it. The corners of Len Ning's lips raised. It's okay. If you need anything, just tell Li Feng. He will arrange to take good care of you. Thank you, Hall Master Len. Why did Hu Ai-jun say thank you? Yes, Len Ning glanced at Hu Ai-jun again and followed Lei Lei away. They will leave for Hae base tomorrow, and they must make some preparations before departure. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Ki Now. Chapter 665. Hall 5, Len Ning's office. When I went to AFEI base before, I brought too few gift bags. This time I have to prepare more for Hae base. Len Ning made a list on paper. There are still supplies, so you should bring some with you. When the time comes, sell some goods directly to the Hae base, and you can exchange them for some space jade. Len Ning looked at Lei Lei. Lei Lei drank tea leisurely and did not reply to her. First-class crops are the best materials for external sales, but now the vegetable base is still rushing to deliver goods to AFEI base, and there is no way to allocate excess inventory. Len Ning frowned. The order volume in City B is also very large, and now the production progress can't keep up. Lei Lei still didn't speak. Do you want to open up another experimental field? Len Ning asked Lei Lei. His expression became less friendly. Even when she talked to him, she didn't respond even a word or two. Okay, Lei Lei finally spoke. Len Ning looked better now. Then let them make arrangements immediately. After saying that, he immediately picked up the phone on the desk. After giving a few instructions to the other end of the phone, Len Ning looked at the list he had made again. The Hae base is too far away from us. It's best to bring more things with you and have all kinds of things. Len Ning muttered again, and then continued to write on the list. More than half an hour had passed, and Len Ning had already compiled a long list of goods. It should be almost done. Please help me take a look. Len Ning stood up, picked up the list and walked towards Thunder. Lei Lei glanced at Len Ning and took the list into his hand. Glancing at the dazzling array of product names above, he said, these things add up to a lot of weight. Isn't there almost no inventory at Leng's now? Is it possible to transfer another batch of goods like this? Am I not here? Len Ning pouted proudly. She is only leaving tomorrow. She will go to the vegetable base. The first-class crops that are in short supply will be replaced soon. As for other products, Leng still has some inventory, so just transfer them out and use them first. Oh, okay then. Lei Lei returned the list to Len Ning. Did you agree to take a vacation? The proud expression on Len Ning's face could not last for 2 seconds, because she finally noticed her husband's mood. Hey, I'm just going to do some work in the afternoon. I'm free anyway. He took the initiative to step forward, climbed on top of Lei Ting, and put his hands around Lei Ting's neck. Okay, Lei Lei said in a protracted tone, I'll go and serve you some tea and water. He then said dotingly. He, my husband is the best. Len Ning stepped forward and put a sip on Lei Ting's lips. Then he quickly fled before Thunder's eyes darkened. Looking at Len Ning's naughty look, Lei Lei felt helpless in his heart, but at the same time, he felt more happiness and joy. Wait for me for a while. I'll ask them to take the order to prepare the goods. Len Ning gave Lei Lei a look and quickly ran to the desk and picked up the phone. Soon someone came to take the order. Afterwards, Len Ning took Lei Ting to the vegetable base. The vegetable base has received news that Len Ning is going to promote crops, and the manpower and land to cooperate with her have been arranged. Just wait until she arrives to get started. Len Ning didn't waste any time and started immediately. Her current wood-type superpower is more powerful than before, and her ability to spawn crops is faster than other 4th-level wood-type superpowers in the vegetable base. After several operations, the staff found that the experimental field temporarily designated for her was no longer enough. Soon, at Len Ning's request, the staff made adjustments to the surrounding test fields to make more space for Len Ning. At the same time, more workers were transferred to assist Len Ning. Lei Lei looked at Len Ning, who was working hard and very efficiently, feeling a little complacent in his heart. His wife is so capable. The news that the two came to the vegetable base had already spread like wildfire, and many workers secretly came to watch the excitement. Especially those who said they had never seen Mr. Lei before. This time they wanted to see what happened. It was the managers who asked everyone to go back to work, so that a circle was not formed around them. But despite this, some workers during their breaks still stayed to watch the excitement. Today's vegetable base can be considered very lively. Under Len Ning's operation, she quickly collected the amount of goods she needed. But it looked like it was still early. She has spawned many first-class crops, which can be considered a contribution to the vegetable base's current production volume. It wasn't until it was getting dark that Len Ning finally gave up on growing crops, and returned to Lei Lei. Lei Lei wiped his sweat and handed him water, as if he was a good husband. What a pity. After all, I am the biggest productive force in the vegetable base. Len Ning took a sip of water and said to Lei Lei. With her in the vegetable base, there is no chance of production stress. You are not productive. Lei Lei smiled and touched Len Ning's head. Then what am I? Len Ning became interested. You are my baby, Lei Lei said dotingly. People who were close could hardly believe their ears. Incredible, incredible. How could such a cool person like Mr. Lei be so good? After Lei Lei looked at them, they quickly looked away. Hee, we are originally a couple, so it's fun to say this, isn't it? Len Ning's cheeks were red, and his ears were also red. Going back, he said coquettishly and left. When did it start? The eldest brother is getting thicker and thicker. Lei Lei raised his lips slightly and strode towards Len Ning. The staff quickly asked everyone to do the finishing work and dispersed the onlookers. Back at Lei's house, just as the Lei family and Hu Ai-jun finished eating, someone from the Leng family delivered everything Len Ning wanted. Holding the space jade containing supplies, Len Ning felt at ease in his heart. Everything is ready, she and Lei Lei can fly to the frontier tomorrow. The next day, the two got up early. They played Tai Chi with Lei Mu in the yard for a while, and then after breakfast, the two went to the backyard. Then take a helicopter to the Hea base on the border. The trip was a long one, and Lei Lei calculated the distance and it took a total of more than 6 hours. They probably had to stop midway to refill the helicopter's fuel. Traveling thousands of miles to find a base whose only approximate direction was known, both of them were wary. Just as Lei Lei expected, when the helicopter was flying to Y City, it finally reported that it was low on fuel. Y City is adjacent to Xian City where Hea base is located. At this time, they are not far from their destination. Lei Lei had no choice but to find a suitable place to land the helicopter in Y City. After lowering and putting the helicopter away, the two realized that more than 5 hours had passed since their departure. It was almost 1:30 in the afternoon, so both of them were already ravenous. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 666. I asked the kitchen to prepare some food last night. Once it's hot, you can eat it. We've been flying for a long time, let's rest for a while before setting off. Len Ning threw a bottle of water to Lei Ting, and he opened another bottle and drank it. Stand up. Okay, Lei took the water, opened it, and drank. Len Ning took out the gas tank and gas stove from the space ring, and then took out the meals prepared in advance. Just as he was about to start heating up the food, Lei had already walked over. Just rest, I'll do it, he said, and already picked up the spatula. Len Ning smiled and said, okay, I'll be on guard. The place where they landed was a wasteland with no obstructions as far as the eye could see. The advantage is that you can detect zombies immediately once they appear. The downside is that they are very conspicuous and zombies can easily spot them. So vigilance is necessary. No, Len Ning soon discovered that there were zombies approaching. Hot it up a little more. I'm going to use up some more energy, Chong Lei said, and Len Ning ran out with Xiaoman's urine. Then she killed the zombies that were walking towards her quickly. She wasn't satisfied after killing several of them, and she didn't give up until all the zombies within sight were cleared. Returning to where Lei was, Lei had already heated up the food. Come here and wash your hands and eat. Lei took out a bucket of water from the space ring. Okay, Len Ning immediately came up happily. Then the two of them started eating. After lunch, Lei took the initiative to take on the task of washing dishes. Len Ning looked at Lei's skillful movements and felt that she had found the right husband. What are you laughing at? The smile in Len Ning's eyes was so obvious that it was hard for Lei not to notice it. I feel very happy, Len Ning said directly. Haha, I will always be happy. The corners of Lei's lips raised slightly. She felt just like him. Brother, have you done this before? Len Ning asked with a smile. Yeah, Lei responded. When did it happen? The noble son of the Lei group has also cooked and washed dishes. My dad was in the past, Lei replied. Training with the four-color team at that time was a lot of hardship. Cooking and washing dishes were nothing. Len Ning was stunned. I heard that you and the four-color group went through very strict training, and it was said to be quite cruel, Len Ning asked tentatively, suddenly feeling a little distressed. The eldest brother is far from being as pampered as outsiders see him, and he even had a very difficult childhood. What was she doing at that time? She was just born when her eldest brother was 10 years old. When she grew up and had memories, he had already shouldered the heavy responsibility of the Lei family. It's okay, Lei raised his head and gave Len Ning a warm smile. Many years have passed since those things happened, and he doesn't feel any pain when he thinks about it now, but it feels very meaningful. What he experienced with the four-color group not only allowed him to develop a strong body and strong hands, but also earned him the most loyal subordinates. No matter what happens in the future, I will face it with my eldest brother. Len Ning looked at Lei Ting and said. It didn't matter if she didn't have the ability before. Now she has the ability and can advance and retreat together with her elder brother. Okay, Lei smiled fondly. After Lei finished cleaning up the scene, Len Ning put everything back behind the space ring. The two walked around for a while and rested for a while before continuing on the road. It didn't take long for the two of them to arrive at the approximate location of Heo's base. According to what is shown on the map, Heo base should be nearby. Len Ning checked the map and looked at the ground situation. But the ground was densely wooded, making it difficult for her to identify the specific location of Heo base. First, find the nearest market nearby. Since it is a base, there should be a certain number of people nearby before the end of the world, Lei said. Oh, okay, Len Ning said quickly. Soon she saw a place named Heo Town on the map. Heo Town is just ahead, why don't we go there first? The names of Heo Town and Heo base are the same, so Heo base must be nearby. Since it's hard to find it in the sky, it's better to go down and look for it on the ground. Okay, Lei responded. The helicopter then continued forward. After a few minutes, Lei selected an open area and landed the helicopter. But before the helicopter landed on the ground, a large number of zombies swarmed up. Len Ning was not polite, took out Xiaoman and started killing the zombies. But for some reason, Len Ning clearly felt that Xiaoman's lethality had weakened. Lei Lei put the helicopter back into the space ring and hurried forward to help. Suddenly, Xiaoman's vines failed to prevent a zombie from approaching as instructed, and Len Ning was in danger. Fortunately, Lei Lei took action in time and used his thunder power to kill the zombie and successfully rescued Len Ning. As soon as Thunder took action, he also noticed something was wrong. With a frown, Lei Lei began to increase his mental power output, hoping to destroy the wave of zombies in front of him. But something strange happened. The lightning blade that he had previously used to kill a group of zombies only traveled 2 meters, and its power was greatly reduced. He only succeeded in killing 2 zombies. Lei Lei's heart sank and he continued to activate his mental power. Unfortunately, the situation turned out to be worse than before. No matter how much mental power he outputs, the thunder powers he can release are getting weaker every time. At the same time, Xiaoman in Len Ning's hand also stopped working, as if he had fallen into a drowsy state and could not move. The two looked at each other and immediately took out the gun from the space ring, and it was a gun with a silencer. When the trigger was pulled, a zombie fell to the ground. Pull it again and it will be the next one. The two stood back to back, each with 2 guns, shooting at approaching zombies. After the bullets were fired, they covered each other while changing the magazines. Because he shot so quickly, he didn't even let the huge wave of zombies get even closer. After fighting for more than 10 minutes, Lei Lei discovered that zombies were still coming from the street and finally decided to evacuate. There was too much noise when the helicopter landed just now. All the zombies around were probably attracted. It's not suitable to stay here for a long time. Let's retreat, Lei Lei said to Len Ning while firing. Okay, which way to go? Len Ning was on high alert and did not dare to relax. What's so weird about this place? It can actually restrict people with superpowers from releasing their superpowers. Although they brought enough guns and ammunition, the lethality of the guns was small after all, and they could only kill 1 zombie at a time. A long-term battle would not be good for them. On the left, I'm in the rear. Lei Lei shot 2 zombies to their left and said to Len Ning. Let's go. Len Ning didn't say much and walked towards the street on the left. At the same time, use your gun to clear the way. Lei Lei took the time to throw a grenade towards the right corner of the street. A blast of boom blew up many zombies. At the same time, the loud noise also attracted many zombies, and some zombies that were originally coming towards them began to deviate. After getting rid of a few zombies that came closer again, Lei Lei threw out 2 more grenades. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 667. After doing all this, Lei Lei was about to chase Len Ning, but found that Len Ning had already separated some distance from him. Seeing the zombies approaching him again, Lei Lei accelerated his shooting to get rid of these disgusting things. Soon a pistol was out of bullets. Lei Lei immediately prepared to change the magazine, but 2 zombies had already rushed in front of him. Just as he was shouting that something was wrong, 2 bullets pierced the heads of 2 zombies. Then 2 zombies fell in front of him. Lei Lei quickly changed the magazine, shot, and killed the remaining zombies that came up, and then saw Len Ning. It was Len Ning who had killed the 2 zombies for him just now, and she actually fell back. At this time, it was too late to talk about his wife. Lei Ting could only do his best to continue to lead Len Ning to break through. After the 2 of them cooperated, it was not so dangerous. Because there are people on guard when changing magazines, I don't have to worry about zombies approaching when I refill bullets. The 2 of them continued to retreat towards the street on the left while shooting. Because of the sound of explosions, it was much easier. After another half hour, the two finally escaped from the town. After killing the last two zombies who were chasing them out of the town, Lei took out his off-road vehicle from the space ring. Len Ning didn't pause, opened the door and got in the passenger seat. Lei got in the car, started the car, and took Len Ning to escape from the town. There are too many zombies in this town. Len Ning took out the mineral water and drank a few sips, then handed the water to Lei Ting. Lei took the water bottle with one hand and took 2 sips, then handed the water bottle back to Len Ning. Len Ning took the water bottle back and took 2 sips again before putting the water bottle back into the space ring. Wiping the sweat from his forehead, Len Ning was still a little nervous at the moment. She had never frowned once when faced with a zombie wave that numbered tens of thousands of zombies before, but just now her heart felt a little chilly. Even now, she still felt a little scared when she thought about it. Fortunately, she chose to turn back just now, otherwise it would be difficult for her brother to get out of trouble. They cannot use their special powers, and even if they are powerful, it will be difficult for them to withstand the attack of the zombie wave. Lei said nothing and continued driving. The zombies here seem to be different from those in other places. Xiaoman told me that it is not that it has no strength all the time, but that it loses strength when some zombies are close, and the degree of its impact is sometimes strong and sometimes weak, Len Ning said with a heavy expression. I suspect that our inability to use our mental power is probably related to some specific zombies. I took out a few zombie corpses that Xiaoman felt abnormal. Why don't we study them first? Len Ning asked. They had already driven out of the town. At this distance, the zombies should not be chasing them. Even if it comes, it won't come so soon. Okay, Lei agreed and parked the car on the side of the road. After getting out of the car, Len Ning took out the 5 zombie corpses he had collected from the space jade. Then he took out the dagger from the space ring. Just as he was about to step forward, he was stopped by Lei. I'll do it. Lei stretched out his hand in front of Len Ning. Yeah, Len Ning didn't insist and gave the dagger to Lei Ting. Lei stepped forward and began to take crystal cores from the zombie corpses. Soon the first zombie crystal core was dug out by him. To the two's surprise, the color of the crystal core turned out to be black, pitch black. This was beyond Len Ning's knowledge. Even in her previous life, she had never seen or heard of zombies with black crystal nuclei. She can now almost conclude that Xiaoman has no strength, and the reason why she and Lei cannot release their mental power is because of this black crystal core. Lei and Len Ning looked at each other. Then Lei continued to dig out the crystal core of a zombie corpse. As expected, what was dug out was still a black crystal core. Lei continued to deal with the zombie corpses until he dug out the crystal cores of 5 zombie corpses. The result was as Len Ning expected, the color of these crystal nuclei was all black. Len Ning's expression was complicated as he summoned Xiaoman and SpecialAbilities from the consciousness sea space. Taking the black crystal core from Lei, Len Ning was ready to let her 2 spiritual pets try it. As expected, both Xiaoman and SpecialAbilities showed strong rejection emotions. SpecialAbilities couldn't speak, and just shook his head in refusal. Xiaoman also expressed his disapproval. Smelly, no. It doesn't taste good. Xiaoman doesn't want this. Len Ning felt sorry for his 2 little ones and was reluctant to force them to eat them, so he could only use other methods to test the black crystal core. She gave 4 black crystal cores to Thunder, leaving only 1 in her hand. Then she tried to release her mental power to activate the plants in front of her. Although the plant grew crookedly, Len Ning clearly felt that she was greatly hindered in outputting her mental power. Upon seeing this, Lei also used the same method to test his thunder power. The result is the same. The black crystal core affected his ability to release his mental power, thus affecting his thunder abilities. It seems like it's really because of the black crystal core, Len Ning sighed. Put away the crystal core first and take it back to the laboratory for study. Lei stretched out his hand to Len Ning. Len Ning glanced at Lei, but did not give him the crystal core. Instead, he received the crystal core into his own space ring. Then she released the wood power again and found that the feeling of obstruction no longer existed. Len Ning looked happy, and then took out the black crystal core and handed it to Lei Ting. Putting the black crystal core in the space will not affect the release of mental power, Len Ning said happily. This way she doesn't have to worry so much about the crystal core magnifying brother. Although they will most likely have to fight with guns next, their supernatural powers may still play a big role. Yes, Lei took the black crystal core and put it together with the crystal core in his hand into his space ring. Then he also conducted a power test and found that the situation was indeed as Len Ning said. What should we do next? Len Ning asked Lei. This place was 10 times more dangerous than she had thought before. The wisest thing to do at this moment was to retreat to City A and come back when fully prepared. But this Xinjiang city is more than 10,000 miles away from A, and it takes a lot of time and energy to come there. Now that they turned back without even finding the location of Heo base, it would be too frustrating. Recalling the expressions on Guo Qiudong and Commander Chen's faces when they gave her the map, Len Ning felt more and more that those two old guys did it on purpose. The local markings are not clear enough, and there is no reminder that such dangerous zombies exist in Xinjiang city. If the people who came today were not her and Lei, they probably wouldn't be able to escape from that town. She said, how could those two old guys give her such important information so readily? It was because they knew there was a trap waiting for her here. For such important supplies, they concluded that she would personally take action. Those two old guys wanted her to confess here. If she hadn't come, she would have definitely sent her confidants down. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 668. When people die here, she will not be able to find out the situation here even from the Thunder base. Sooner or later she would make the trip herself. Even if she was lucky enough not to die, if she had an accident here she could only blame her own bad luck. After all, the Southern Army base only promised to give her a map, but had no obligation to tell her that it was extremely dangerous. Two old guys with evil intentions. We can't go to the town. Let's walk around and see if we can find the Heo base. Lei looked around and said to Len Ning. The Heo base should be nearby. If they can find it, they don't need to worry so much next. But if they can't find it, they must leave before dark, at least leaving the boundaries of Xinjiang city. Okay, Len Ning agreed. Get in the car, Lei said, and took the lead in walking towards the off-road vehicle. Len Ning quickly followed. Then the car started and continued driving on the already somewhat dilapidated road. Along the road, Len Ning observed everything outside the window, trying to find some traces left by humans. Unfortunately, even though the road became increasingly deserted, she didn't find any valuable clues. Finally, the car reached a three-way intersection, and the two saw an arrow marked with red spray paint on the road sign. Go to the mountain. Len Ning looked up the mountain, which was also the direction indicated by the arrow. After the apocalypse, human bases will generally choose to be built on mountains to avoid encountering zombies wandering on the main roads, and to facilitate the construction of defensive fortifications to resist the invasion of zombies. In addition, there is a mark on this road sign, so maybe the Heo base is right up there. Yeah, Lei responded and drove the car towards the mountain. As the off-road vehicle continued to drive, Len Ning quickly discovered some human traces. It seemed that they were on the right track this time. After walking for a while, the two finally arrived at a checkpoint and saw someone. They stopped the car in front of the roadblock, and after Lei put the car into the space ring, the two of them walked towards the people holding weapons at the checkpoint. Who are you? How did you find yourself here? Before Len Ning could ask, a young man of 18 or 19 had already asked them warily. They haven't had any survivors here for several months, and everyone thought that no one would come again. They are only here to guard against zombies. These two people have cars, look energetic, and are well dressed. They are definitely not ordinary people. We are coming from City A and want to find the Heo base. Is your place the Heo base? Len Ning asked. Several people at the checkpoint were stunned. City A is more than 5,000 kilometers away from here. How could you be from City A? The young man asked Chong Len Ning. Len Ning curled his lips. Didn't you pay attention to the sky before? We came here by helicopter. The expressions of several people immediately changed. Helicopter, didn't you go to Heo Town? The young man asked in shock. How could they not know there were helicopters circling in the sky? Seeing that the other party didn't seem to know where they were, the leader even sent them down the mountain to try to get through. Unfortunately, they were unable to pick up anyone at the foot of the mountain. Only when I came back did I find out that the helicopter had gone to Heo Town. They don't know what is going on with Yuzhen. How is it possible to come out alive after going there? Are these two people really on the helicopter? I went to Heojhan, and I almost confessed there. Len Ning sighed. Is your place the Heo base? Len Ning looked at the young man and asked again, with a hint of impatience in his tone. What are you doing with Heo base? The young man's expression changed slightly, but his eyes were still wary when looking at Len Ning. Len Ning glanced at the young man, with a smile in his eyes. Let's talk business. More than 5,000 kilometers away, why don't I come here for fun without talking about business? Len Ning deliberately made his words a bit harsh, just to put some psychological pressure on the other party. Is this Heo base? If not, don't waste my time. Yes. We are here at the Heo base. Please come in quickly. The young man was still struggling, but the person next to him had already stepped out of the way. What evidence do you have? Len Ning was about to go in, but the young man stopped him with his hand. He frowned and said, You little kid, how come you don't trust people? What proof do you want? The rest of the people also looked at the young man. In these last days, when people are unpredictable, Yang Gang's worries are not without reason. Although these two outsiders do not look like bad people, they are not afraid of 10,000, just in case. There are so many people in their base, and if they really come across them here to grab supplies, the consequences of luring a wolf into the house will be very serious. The young man was stunned. What credentials are required? When Len Ning showed his boredom again, he finally had a flash of inspiration. Didn't you come by helicopter? Take out the helicopter and have a look. If you can, I'll let you in. The young man looked at Len Ning and said. A pretty girl, why is she so impatient? This is a reasonable question for him. Len Ning frowned, and just as she was about to speak, Lei Lei had already taken out the helicopter from behind her. Several people present were immediately shocked. They actually have a helicopter. In other words, they were really the people who flew to Heo Town before. Is it possible for two people to land in Heo Town and escape safely? Can we be allowed in now? Len Ning asked the young man angrily. At the same time, Thunder also took the helicopter back into its own space ring. Please. The young man changed his previous attitude and immediately got out of the way. Len Ning glanced at the young man and entered the level. Thunder follows. You guys keep an eye on this place. I'll take the guests to see the leader, the young man said to the other people guarding the checkpoint. Yes, several people nodded in agreement. The young man hurriedly chased Len Ning and Lei Lei. I'll take you two to see the leader right now, the young man said quickly after catching up with the two. Thank you. Len Ning glanced at the young man and said. Change your previous attitude. The young man was stunned, and his view of Len Ning also changed. Next, under the leadership of the young man, the two successfully met Yang Qiang, the leader of Heo Base. It was also at this time that Len Ning found out that the young man's name was Yang Gang, and his identity turned out to be Yang Qiang's nephew. No wonder the other people who were with him just now were so convinced of him. Master Lei and Hall Master Leng are here. We are rude to Jade Base. Yang Qiang shook hands with Lei Ting and Len Ning respectively, and then said, I didn't manage my subordinates well. I hope you two can forgive me. I was also rude and did not provide evidence to prove my identity earlier, Len Ning admitted generously, looking at Yang Gang not far away. Yang Gang was slightly stunned, but he didn't expect that Len Ning would take the initiative to admit his mistake. What happened just now was my fault. Please forgive me. Yang Gang came forward and bowed to Len Ning and Lei Ting. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Qi Now. Chapter 669. No, I'm not right about this either, Len Ning said quickly. Yang Gang still bowed and did not get up. Len Ning was just about to say something more when he heard Yang Qiang laugh. Haha, since Hall Master Len has forgiven you, get up. Thank you, Chief. Yang Gang stood up. Len Ning glanced at the kind-looking Yang Qiang, and then at the serious-looking Yang Gang, thinking that the leader of Yang Qiang must not be as simple as he seemed. Just clear up the misunderstanding. Mr. Lei, Hall Master Len, let's sit down and talk. Yang Qiang smiled at Lei Ting and Lei Ning. Yeah, Lei responded and followed Yang Qiang to the side and sat down. Len Ning sat next to Lei. Yang Qiang just glanced at Yang Gang, and he went to make tea of his own accord. Our place is remote and no guests have come here for a long time, Yang Qiang said with a sigh. Len Ning was slightly startled. It shouldn't be, space jade is such a good thing, the demand should be huge. By the way, I still don't know how you know about us and the jade base, Yang Qiang said and looked at Len Ning. After just now, he had realized that Lei Ting didn't like to talk anymore, so it was more convenient to ask Len Ning. The map given to me by the Southern Army base, Len Ning replied directly. Yang Qiang's expression froze slightly. It turns out to be a Southern military base, then he muttered. Seeing Len Ning's suspicious expression, Yang Qiang hurriedly said, we did cooperate with the Southern Army base before. You just said that the Southern Army base has not been here for a long time, Len Ning looked at Wang Qiang inquiringly. It hasn't been long since the Southern Army base lost all its helicopters. I'm afraid it doesn't match what Wang Qiang said just now, no one has been here for a long time. Recalling that two old guys, Guo Qiudong and Commander Chen, hid from her that there were dangerous zombies here, Len Ning realized vigilantly that this matter might not be that simple. Actually it didn't take long, just a few months. Yang Qiang smiled awkwardly. Len Ning's eyes changed slightly. I'm afraid Mr. Yang doesn't know, but almost a month ago, all the helicopters at the Southern Army base were in my hands. Len Ning looked at Yang Qiang with a sharp look in his eyes. Why lie? Are you trying to hide something? Yang Qiang's expression froze. I said there were no people coming to the Southern Army base, but it turned out to be Yang Qiang looked at Len Ning and Lei with a hint of fear in his eyes. All the helicopters at the Southern military base are in their hands. What does this mean? I'm afraid the Southern Army base no longer exists. In this apocalyptic world, the zombie threat is just that. The surviving human bases also pose threats to each other. In order to snatch survival supplies, there are often conflicts between bases. They didn't come not because they couldn't come, but because they had already moved to another place to buy space jade. Len Ning looked at Yang Qiang and said. This is actually just her guess, but it is highly likely. According to news from City B, the Southern Army base previously engaged in the business of selling space jade. Naturally, those space jades cannot be produced by themselves, they can only be purchased from outside. When she asked Guo Qiudong and Commander Chen to give her the address of the origin of space jade, the two men told her without much hesitation. Leng's business has spread to City B. If she knows the origin of the space jade, it will definitely affect the business of the Southern Army base. The two people could tell her and the address of the jade base so happily, maybe they had already found a new base that could sell space jade. It is true that this Heo base can produce space jade, but it is in a very dangerous place. They told her it was no big loss to them. Yang Gang's face turned pale. There are several commercially produced jade in China, and you are not the only base that can provide space jade, Len Ning continued. At this point, she had basically confirmed her guess. "What do you mean?" Yang Gang, who brought tea, said. The look he looked at Len Ning was extremely unfriendly. But Yang Qiang didn't stop him. Len Ning raised the corners of his lips. "It's not interesting, I just want to hear the truth from Mr. Yang." Len Ning looked at Yang Qiang again. "To be honest, we came here because we were deliberately guided by the Southern Army base. We have not found any other base that can supply space jade. Whether Mr. Yang is willing to tell us the truth today or not, I will definitely place the order. But I'm afraid it will be difficult to continue the follow-up cooperation. After all, I would rather spend more time looking for it than doing business in the dark. A stable and reliable partner. For us, it's just a matter of spending more time, but for Heo Base, the environment here is dangerous, and I'm afraid it's hard for anyone to come back. They came here because they were tricked by the Southern Army base, and others would not. To put it bluntly, it is true that Heo Base has good things, but other places can also provide such good things, and the environment is safer. Anyone with brains knows who to cooperate with." Yang Qiang's expression froze. He stretched out his hand to stop Len Ning from continuing. "I understand what Hall Master Len means," then he sighed. "I am willing to explain the situation to you. The space jade can also be given to you at a price lower than the market price." Chief Yang Gang immediately called Yang Qiang. Yang Qiang stretched out his hand to stop Yang Gang from talking. "Master Len, you are right. If you don't cooperate with us in the future, we and the Jade base will most likely be trapped here in the future." Len Ning's eyes moved slightly. Stuck to death here? This statement was more serious than she thought just now. In fact, there were a dozen bases that cooperated with us before, but just over 5 months ago, they successively proposed to purchase our space jade at a reduced price. At that time, I thought they were deliberately lowering the price, so I refused. I thought they would turn around, but then they really didn't come. It was only when the last customer came here more than 2 months ago that I learned that they had indeed found a new base to buy goods. Although the prices there are more expensive than ours, the surrounding environment is much safer than here, Yang Qiang said with a complex expression. At that time, he also suspected that the customer was making up lies to deceive him in order to bargain with him, because the quantity he wanted that time was really large. He did make some concessions on the price at that time, but who knew he would disappear after that? It was another month before he slowly figured out that what the customer said was true. When their prices have no absolute advantage over others, customers are really unwilling to take risks here. That base that can provide space jades like them most likely really exists. Although they bought 3 helicopters from previous partners, they rarely used them. The situation in Xinjiang City is special. None of the survivors around the jade mine have awakened their powers, which means that they and everyone in the jade base are all ordinary people. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 670. For the safety of the base, when customers come over, they will ask the helicopter to land on the opposite hill. They themselves rarely use helicopters. Even if they do, they leave the base and take off from the hill next door. Before finding a suitable base to immigrate to, they can only do their best to protect their own safety. Yes, since he learned about the situation in the outside world and compared it with themselves, he has only one goal, and that is to take everyone in Heo Base to escape from Xinjiang City and live somewhere else. But this is easier said than done. Especially since they are all ordinary people without special powers. This is the biggest secret between them and the Jade Base, and even those who do business with them don't know it. In these last days, it is a sin to carry a jade. If those people knew that they had no force, the Heo Base would be looted soon. Even become a slave. It's too difficult for him, and Hea base is too difficult. There have been no customers for 2 consecutive months. Although they can survive for a while longer relying on the supplies paid by others before, the situation will only get worse. If Lenning and Lei hadn't suddenly visited today, he would have already planned to have someone fly a helicopter out to find a way to survive. What he said just now is not an exaggeration. If the Thunder base is unwilling to continue to communicate with them, they will basically be completely trapped here. Without trade, survival would be on their own. They have no special powers and cannot make crops grow quickly. In this small and populous base, self-sufficiency was never possible. How many spatial jades do Hall Master Len want this time? Yang Qiang cheered up and asked Len Ning. The matter has come to this, no matter how low the price is, the business must continue. There were so many mouths in Hea base that he had to save some supplies before he could find a solution. How many do you have? Len Ning's eyes flashed and he looked at Yang Qiang and asked. Yang Qiang was stunned. We only accept door-to-door pickup of supplies, he said later. They and the jade base are built in the jade mine. The number of raw stones mined so far is no less than 10,000 pieces, and the number of finished space jades that have been processed out of the stone exceeds 50,000. Because there are no customers coming, the mining and stone removal operations have been suspended for a long time. If necessary, they can also arrange to resume production immediately, and the output is absolutely amazing. What supplies do you need? Len Ning asked directly. Just as Yang Qiang was about to speak, Len Ning had already taken out a booklet from the space ring. It's better to choose directly. We can provide all the goods above. After saying that, Len Ning stood up and handed the roster to Yang Qiang. Yang Qiang was stunned. Received the roster. When he saw the dazzling array of product names and the incredibly beautiful prices at the back, he was so shocked that he was speechless. He quickly flipped through several pages and found that the prices of the products at the back were also ridiculously beautiful. Yang Gang noticed Yang Qiang's abnormality and moved closer to see the content above. His reaction wasn't much better, he was so shocked that his heart beat a lot faster. Is this the price above? Serious? Yang Gang looked at Len Ning excitedly. Seriously? Len Ning raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Yang Qiang's face suddenly flashed with joy. Master Len, are you sure you're not kidding me? However, within a moment, the smile on Yang Qiang's face faded. How could it be possible? Basically all good stuff, but the price is so cheap. Also, it's been almost a year since the end of the world, how could some things still exist? Even if you have it, how can you sell it if you don't want to use it yourself? Of course not, Len Ning replied with a smile. Then he took out the tablet computer from the space ring. Then he clicked on the tablet, found the promotional video for the Thunder base, and played it to Yang Qiang and Yang Gang. The two of them were stunned, never expecting that there was such a place in the world. While they were shocked, they also maintained doubts and wariness in their hearts. They couldn't believe that the Thunder base was really a paradise. After the video finished playing, Len Ning took out a gift package from the space ring. This is a big gift package launched by our Leng family. It contains some representative products of the Leng family. Give it to Mr. Yang as a meeting gift, Len Ning said politely. Yang Qiang was stunned. Then he gave Yang Gang a look. Yang Gang immediately stepped forward to open the box. When they saw the various products with Leng's characteristic packaging inside, both of them were a little shocked. These things match up with the video just now. I came here in a hurry. I only brought a small amount of supplies. Let's use this batch of goods to exchange for the first batch of space jade with Mr. Yang. Here is the list, Len Ning said, and took out a booklet from the space ring and handed it to him. Yang Gang. Yang Gang took it blankly. When I saw the product names and quantities listed above, I was so shocked that I was speechless. The total value is at the end. This is the goods, Len Ning said, placing a space jade on the coffee table. Yang Gang immediately put down the book and reached out to pick up the space jade. When he saw that it was indeed filled with supplies and other space jades indicating the types of supplies stored, Yang Jiang couldn't calm down at all. The number of finished space jade pieces in our hands exceeds 50,000 pieces, and the number of mined rough stones exceeds 10,000 pieces. We can definitely meet the needs of the Thunder Base, Yang Jiang said excitedly. The two distinguished guests in front of me are not ordinary people. With the strength of Thunder Base and Leng Group, business can definitely be spread in China. The amount of space jade they will need by then will be unimaginable. Those previous customers who cooperated with him mainly wanted to wholesale space jade for external retail, and the quantity for their own use was not large. But the two customers in front of me, whether wholesale or retail or for personal use, are super wealthy. It can be said that with Thunder Base as a customer, they don't have to worry about their future business with Jade Base. In addition, the paradise-like Thunder Base is by far his most promising migration base. As long as they investigate the situation clearly, they may be able to move to the Thunder Base. Len Ning's eyes flashed, then I want them all. Okay. But our conditions with you remain unchanged. You have to bring supplies to pick up the goods, Yang Jiang said sternly. Okay. This time, I will pay for the value of this batch of goods first, Len Ning readily agreed. Yang Jiang's expression relaxed now. He was really afraid that Len Ning would disagree just now. He didn't dare to offend such a big customer rashly now. If she didn't agree, he really didn't know what to do. Refreshing, Yang Jiang glanced at the total value of the goods calculated on Len Ning's book, and then said, Master Leng has set the price of goods so cheaply, and we and the Jade Base will not set high prices for the space jade. I will directly give you 5,000 first-class space jades for this batch. Do you have any objections? Yang Jiang said to Len Ning. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Qi Now. Chapter 671. Yang Gang on the side was shocked on the spot. 5,000 first-class space jades? That's not a small amount. But he just saw the roster provided by Hall Master Leng. If calculated based on the market price, Hall Master Leng's batch of goods would be an astronomical figure. Thinking about it this way, giving them only 5,000 space jades is not much. Of course I have no objection, Len Ning said with a smile. I also want the remaining 45,000 space jades. Mr. Yang, you can place an order according to the list. Next time I come over, I can bring the goods directly to your door, Len Ning said. Yang Jiang's eyes flashed, okay. But I have to trouble you two to stay at Hei Base for one more day. The accounts are relatively large, and we need to discuss the quantity of supplies. With just these two businesses, the materials obtained were probably enough for them and the Jade Base to last for more than a year. Regardless of whether they go to the Thunder Base or not, there will definitely be only benefits in getting these supplies. Len Ning immediately looked back at Lei Ting. Seeing Lei Lei nodding towards her, he said to Yang Jiang, then I'll bother Mr. Yang. You're welcome, Master Leng. It's an honor for me to have this distinguished guest, Yang Jiang immediately smiled. Wait a minute, you two. After I have made some arrangements, I will personally take you to visit the Jade Base. You can learn about the entire process of jade mining and processing. Haha, okay, Len Ning said cheerfully. Yang Jiang then stood up and nodded to Len Ning and Lei Lei. Then he picked up the two brochures and space jade given by Len Ning and left his seat. After giving Yang Gang a look, Yang Jiang went to the other end of the room. Yang Gang hurriedly followed. This is the list and goods of the first batch of goods at the Thunder Base. You can take them to the military quarters and check them in the account after vacating them. The space jades they loaded will be put together when the time comes, and we will choose one to hold our goods. Yes, Yang Gang said immediately, reaching out to take it. Yang Jiang did not give him the items, but continued, go to the finance department to pick up the 5,000 pieces of space jade. Find a few people to inspect the goods, and they will all be first grade. Pay attention to the quantity. It doesn't matter if you have a few more. You can't have less. The quality must be controlled well, Yang Qiang warned. It is enough to show how much he attaches importance to this cooperation with the Thunder Base. Yes, don't worry, Leader Yang Gang said quickly. Yes, Yang Qiang then gave the booklet and the space jade containing supplies to Yang Gang. Yang just received the space jade, and he was not calm at all. He also instantly understood how his uncle was feeling at the moment. There are a lot of supplies, and they are all good stuff. Everything on the list is real. If this batch of goods is sent to the munitions department, their lives and the lives of everyone in you will be improved immediately. There is also this booklet. You can take it and make 10 copies. Let the military supplies department and the military affairs department hold a meeting first. Based on the price I set today, we will calculate and determine the quantity of goods we can get in the future. Then before evening come up with a rough ordering plan. After the plan comes out, at 9 o'clock in the evening, let the two persons in charge come to me with the plan to finalize the order form, Yang Qiang continued. Thunder Base can provide too many goods, covering almost all the items they need. Not only in terms of daily life, but also in terms of guns and ammunition, which they are now particularly short of. Working with them is perfect. Their arrival this time is a great blessing for Heu. Yes, Yang Gang said excitedly. Go Yang Qiang had a rare smile on his face. Yes, Yang Gang smiled and ran out of the door. Seeing Yang Gang's childlike appearance, Yang Qiang couldn't help laughing. He's still a child after all. Seeing Len Ning looking at him, Yang Qiang said with a smile. At the same time, he walked towards Len Ning and Lei Lei. Len Ning glanced at the door and said, at his age, he should still be a student before the end of the world. I'm in my second year of high school. Yang Qiang's eyes were filled with more kindness. Then he looked at Len Ning curiously. Judging from Hall Master Leng's age, he might be younger than his nephew. He originally wanted to ask, but after thinking about it he still didn't ask. Hall Master Leng's other identity is Mr. Lei's wife. I'm afraid it would be impolite to ask. I'm a senior in high school. Unexpectedly, Len Ning said with a smile. Yang Qiang was shocked. The end of the world has destroyed everyone's life trajectory. Len Ning sighed. If there was no apocalypse, I should have graduated and prepared to go to college by this time. Len Ning had a faint smile on his face. However, our Thunder Base has prepared to resume classes from kindergarten to junior high school first, and children of appropriate age can return to school. When the safe zone is built, high schools and universities will follow suit. Everything will slowly get back on track. Yang Qiang was a little shocked. This is a great thing. I really want to visit your Thunder Base. Yang Qiang looked yearning. We are always welcome, Len Ning responded with a smile. Yang Qiang's eyes flashed, and then the luster in his eyes faded a little. It's a pity that the base has a lot of affairs, so I can't go there for the time being. But Yang Gang is relatively free. If possible, could you send a few representatives to visit your Thunder Base? Although he had seen the situation of the Thunder Base from the promotional video just now, the video could not show much. Too one-sided. If you can see it with your own eyes, you can understand the Thunder Base more clearly. The video also mentioned the Thunder Base accepting immigrants. If the Thunder Safe Zone is really that good, they can find a way to negotiate terms with the Thunder Base to move there. If there are not many people, you can take our helicopter and return together, Len Ning said with a smile. Also, when high schools and universities resume in the future, we welcome students from all over the world to go to the Thunder Base to take exams for admission. People like Yang Gang should be able to pass the exams. The content of the exam will naturally be different from what it was before the end of the world. The world has changed in the apocalypse. Of course, the knowledge taught in schools before the apocalypse cannot be discarded, but the knowledge about supernatural powers must also be established as a special subject. The Ministry of Education has already discussed this and said that new schools will be built in the future to provide talents with special abilities to the army. In the future, the school will be an important channel for the Thunder Base to recruit talents, and it will also be one of the most relaxed channels for the Thunder Base to settle. That's great. You are so socially responsible, Yang Qiang praised. Just try our best and do what we can, Len Ning said. If you don't mind, I would like to arrange a team of 4 to go with you to the Thunder Base. We have our own helicopter, and we can just fly behind you. Yang Qiang returned to the topic just now. Okay, Len Ning agreed happily. At the same time, doubts arose in my heart. Since there are helicopters in the Heo base, why not take the initiative to contact the outside world to export the space jade? Is it just because he is afraid of disturbing nearby zombies? Haha, I'm looking forward to our next cooperation. Yang Qiang interrupted Len Ning's doubts with one sentence.